question is that?
Check this out. Adrian Beltre. You want me to go to the on-deck circle? The on-deck circle comes to me.
Right.
He was gone. Check this out. Giancarlo Stanton, in reaction after hitting a home run. Does it look like anything from the night before?
With some Billy cheese.
And check this out. The worst slide, but the much worse tag for an inside the park grand slam by an Iron Pig. Let's go around the horn.
Iron Pig. You're on Greyjoy?
It's Around the Horn, the show of competitive banter. Here's Tony Reale.
Sure. We expect him to be in camp. Dan Gilbert on Kyrie Irving. It's been a week since the trade request became public, and Bob Ryan's been sitting at home just baking those takes. So, Bob, we'll go to you first. What are you hearing when you hear Dan Gilbert say he expects Kyrie at camp?
I happen to hear a experienced guy, whatever we think of him in general terms, all right? But in this particular case, an experienced guy who is taking a deep breath, step back, and saying, you know what, I'm not going to overreact to this. These things have a way of taking on a life of their own. We don't want to overreact. And he cited the Kobe Bryant circumstance in L.A. a number of years ago, which I think is a valid reference. And by the way, there's one more element to the story I read in the New York Daily News today, and that is that there's a possible advisor named a minister named Mr. Lentz that has been known to associate with other NBA players and has maybe to have Kyrie's ear. So just factor that one into the conversation, too. But as far as Gilbert's concerned, I think this is a rational approach. He's not going to overreact.
Israel Gutierrez, is that how you hear it?
Sure. No, not really. That's not how I hear it at all. I actually don't even like the Kobe comparison, to be honest, because Kobe's situation was he was clearly the franchise's top priority. He was clearly their best player, and he was unhappy with management and who they were bringing in. This is Kyrie Irving saying, you are not making me the top priority, even though if you look at our ages, if you look at the future of the franchise, I should be your top priority. And if that's not going to happen, then I would like to leave. And, you know, they're not going to say to him, okay, we'll make your top priority, because that upsets LeBron, and it only furthers the idea that LeBron's going to leave in 2018. So the organization's just in this middle point where they've got two players in different parts of their career and they don't know which way to go, and one of them is trying to force their hand. So I don't think that they're certain on anything, but I would say actions speak louder than words, and I would say Kyrie not communicating with the team, as has been reported, is a lot more telling than Dan Gilbert telling you, yeah, sure, we still want him.
Yeah, Donde?
Or Dan Gilbert saying, yeah, he'll be here in training camp. That's not a very extensive commitment, right? It's not exactly saying he'll be here for the duration of his contract, or even that he'll be here past the trading deadline and into the playoffs for next year. So the way he parsed that was very interesting. The other interesting thing to come out of that press conference, which supposedly was for the new GM, Kobe Altman, but they didn't spend much time talking about the new GM, but they also discussed how LeBron has been helpful. They tried to, paint the image that LeBron is very much involved, and LeBron is even helping them out.
Do you believe that, or is that just trying to
No,
make
because
all things
LeBron's
right
people wanted it out there that LeBron was going to be hands-off and leave it up to the team, because I don't think they wanted to have any blood on LeBron's hands if this thing all blows up. So, you've got the team saying something different than what LeBron's people are saying, even if it's just for image sake, and that's not a good sign.
Bill Plaschke.
I think everybody's reading way too much into this. This is an owner just talking about common sense. Hey, we have a guy. He's on our team. He needs to be on our team. We've been in the finals 3 years with this guy. We're going to keep him here. Why should we trade him? I'd rather start this whole conversation with we're going to keep him. I think that's the only common sense way to do it. He took a step back and said, you know what? This is silly. He plays for us. We don't have to trade him. We're not going to trade him.
So you have the expectation they're not going to trade him now. That's what this statement
get him worked out.
Israel Gutierrez, you're shaking your head no.
No, I do think that LeBron has been helpful. I believe in that he's not trying to facilitate a Kyrie trade, but I do think he's been helpful during the offseason, because he's not going to waste a year. He can't go into this season thinking, I'll just wait until next year and try to win a championship. He's going in thinking, I've got to get Derrick Rose ready, which is why they're working out, and I've got to do whatever possible to try to win a championship again, or at least meet the Warriors or whomever in the finals, because otherwise it's an entirely wasted year for them.
Plaschke, though, you're on record saying you don't think they should trade him. You don't think they're going to trade him now after this statement. Adonde, you're on record both here and for ESPN.com saying the same thing. You don't believe a trade is in their best interest, nor do you think they're going to trade him. And Israel, your gut there is?
My gut is they get assets and they try to get another player to make LeBron happy, but also have an asset or two that says, hey, if they both leave, at least we have a starting point.
And is there, you call them assets, is there a team? Are there human being names that we can throw out here?
The Phoenix possibility always sounds like a good one, especially when Eric Bledsoe's working out with LeBron and Derrick Rose, too.
Okay. And now Bob Ryan. We've been waiting for this take all along. Do you believe a trade's going to happen?
Oh, that wasn't what I wanted to talk about, but if you asked me...
Sorry, Bob.
I think that's all that really matters, right, Bob? I want you to talk about what you want to talk about, but that's all that really matters. Is the trade going to happen?
Well, I'll tell you what, the city I'm sitting in could make them an offer.
Is that going to happen? Are they going to make a trade
No,
with their
but
number one rival?
but think about the personnel involved. They could make them an offer that Cleveland would have to listen to.
Starting day, opening day of the season, is Kyrie Irving on the Cavaliers? That's all I want to know, Bob.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
All
We'll
right,
move on. Football now. Adam Schefter on Mike and Mike this morning said he expects the Baltimore Ravens to have discussions with Colin Kaepernick over the next couple of days. He said he's reading between lines, but Joe Flacco has a bulging disc. Is there any other kind? And we'll miss time. Ryan Mallett, Dustin Vaughn, only QBs on roster. So, Bill Plaschke, we'll start with you here, if this is the question you want to answer. Do the Ravens make sense for Kaepernick, and does Kaepernick make sense for the Ravens?
Tony, I want to answer what you want to ask me. I will answer this.
Okay,
yes,
this
makes total sense. I think whether we like it or not, the bottom line was the only team that was going to sign Kaepernick is a team that thought all the hassles that they thought he would bring, all the distractions they thought he'd bring to them would be worth it for his production. In this case, with Flacco down, this could be worth it. He's played for Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator, before in San Francisco. John Harbaugh knows him, so he'll be coming to a comfortable environment, and it's a team that, with Flacco potentially down, could really use him. This could work for both guys.
Exactly. The other options right now are Ryan Mallett, whose touchdown to interception ratio for his career is underwater, as they say in the mortgage business, and Dustin Vaughn. So, yes, I'd play Kaepernick ahead of both of them. And also, you're bringing him into a fan base. Remember, this was the fan base that applauded and gave an ovation to Ray Rice the first time he stepped on a practice field in a Ravens jersey after the whole domestic violence case, after we'd seen the video of him dragging his unconscious fiancée at the time out of the elevator. So maybe you give the fans a do-over. You're going to tell me those fans wouldn't be willing to accept Colin Kaepernick and the quote-unquote baggage that he has when they were so welcoming to Ray Rice? So you could give those fans a do-over to show that, hey, maybe we can show some love to somebody who didn't do anything wrong, who didn't commit a crime, the same way they showed love for Ray Rice.
It's an interesting point. I want Israel to address maybe Adande first on that, on how the fan base would react. Could react, might react.
I think if a quarterback is going to come in and help your team, a fan base will justify the signing regardless, although this one's a little bit trickier in that respect. I don't think this organization in particular, I don't really weigh those two things equally, and I do think one sort of triggers the anger of fans more than the other. Not saying it should, but it does. To be honest, this is the way it was supposed to play out anyway. We were always going to have 1 or 2 or 3 injured quarterbacks, and we say, okay, this is where Colin Kaepernick could fit, and we'd find a way to justify it and find the reasons. But let's be honest, like, Ryan Mallett is the backup quarterback here. Colin Kaepernick is a better option there. So the fact that we're saying, okay, now's the time for Colin Kaepernick to be able to join this team because Joe Flacco's down, when in reality he's been a better option the whole time. So it's just more of the same with Colin Kaepernick. It's just we're getting to the point where he's finally going to be the last QB standing, where you're finally going to have somebody sign him.
And Bob, your view of it?
You know, to this point, Tony, it's all been hypothetical, the identity of a conceivable team. And suddenly there's a team that seems to make sense on every level. Needed for a quarterback, prior relationship with both the coach and the OC, and it's about time for him to make a decision. What interests me is this. Jim Harbaugh said that he has talked to him, John Harbaugh said he has talked to him over the offseason extensively, but today he said he still needs to get find out exactly where his head is. How badly does he want to play? And, of course, there will be a contractual circumstance, too, in which case I think the burden, if they offer it, will then go revert to Kaepernick. But it just seems that the time has finally come to have the man who is not the 97th best quarterback out there, but is somewhere way up higher on that list, to get a job.
Jay, you brought up fan reaction. You applied it to how the Baltimore fans first reacted to Ray Rice when he came back. My gut is to wonder if that's fair or even possible to compare serious issues. But there was a survey of 9,000 sports fans. J.D. Power did it today. They had a percentage that said they watch fewer games because of the anthem protests. Now, the percentages are tough to even describe here, but you said you wanted to talk about it, so please, the floor is yours.
In the most succinct manner possible, the other way to read those is that 75% of the fans who watched less NFL games last year did not do so because of kneeling during the anthem. So, it's a very small proportion that was really upset to the point they turned off the NFL. In other words, 1/4 of NFL fans were so put out by the kneeling during the anthem that they watched fewer NFL games.
we've been horrible. Move on. Baseball now. And what the Washington Nationals did to the Milwaukee Brewers this afternoon. Over and 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 over again. That's 8 home runs by the 4th inning, including back-to-back in the 3rd inning. Bryce Harper had 2 following an ejection last night where he kicked and screamed and seemed surprised he was ejected. He said his pregame music fired him up too much. It was 5 a.m. by Logic. Bob, you're reacting like you're not familiar with the oeuvre of Mr. Logic. Israel, Nats scored nearly 24 runs in 9+ innings after that ejection. You think there's a connection?
Normally, I'd say no. But right here, if you're going to make the argument for momentum, I'd make it. Because, look, not only do you have a day game after a night game, which, less time to sort of simmer, less time to simmer. You have Bryce Harper sort of leading the barrage in that 1st inning and them following. And, frankly, when you've got a team that's 12.5 up in their division, don't really have the same motivation every single night. You sort of need something to get you going a little bit. So, yeah, I'd say
Bob
it's probably a
Ryan,
little
could
bit of
there
that.
be a connection between ejection and all the runs?
Absolutely not. This is ridiculous. The fact is that the least consequential sampling in all of a North American sport is one baseball game. That's A. B is that it isn't that simple that you just, I'm going to hit a home run. No. Look, obviously there was crappy pitching going on. There was good swinging going on. And today's one game, and that's all that matters. That's all it is. I'm sorry. That has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah. Momentum is next day's starting pitcher, or in this case, lack thereof. Michael Blazek started for the Brewers today. He's 28-year-old, making his first career major league start. He was told at the last minute he was starting, so he was a little bit overwhelmed. That's all this was.
Jay Adonde.
Guys, the important question here was what music was playing in the clubhouse before this game. If Bryce Harper said he got ejected because the music he listened to last night got him too amped, we need the excellent reporters on the Washington Nationals beat to find out the tunes that were on the clubhouse.
So you're not
radio.
saying there's more about sound system. It seems like you're being a little bit. All right. Bob, you may not be familiar with Logic, but then Harper said he got too fired up with Logic, so he's going to go to the Temptations, which I think you can approve of.
An excellent choice.
Yes,
Cool in the Gang would have been a better option.
All right, thank you, Phil, for that extra special glimpse into your life. We're taking a break right here. Buy or sell is next. Phil is just volunteering bands he likes now. Good.
Buy or sell.
USA 2, Jamaica 1 to win the Gold Cup. Jordan Morris, the winner in the 88th minute. Unbeaten streak with Bruce Arenas up to 14. Bill Plaschke, something or nothing?
I don't know why I keep saying these things because soccer fans keep hating on me, but not much. It was an exhibition. Half the U.S. team wasn't there. They're in Europe. Jamaica's terrible. They didn't even qualify for the World Cup qualifying. Let's wait till the World Cup qualifying. That's what it means something.
What do you mean they didn't qualify for the World Cup qualifying?
Jamaica's already out of the World Cup qualifying.
Jay Adonde.
Even though the only cups we really care about are World Cups, this is something. You have to take the positives, the return to form of Josie Altidore. Maybe this can help going forward. Bruce Arena doing something right in his return as well. And it's nice to see a homegrown coach helping out
Gutierrez.
Of course it's something. Like, we can't have it both ways, like sit around and yawn and say, show me something, U.S. national team, and then they win a cup. It doesn't matter what cup.
Hear that, Flash?
They win a
You
cup.
can't have
They're
it
not
both
losing.
ways.
They didn't lose to Jamaica the way Mexico did. They beat Jamaica. Come on. Like, it's something. It's on a 14-game unbeaten streak.
Bob
It's
Ryan.
something. It's definitely something.
It's something, maybe not with a capital S, but it's something. And the fact is that Bruce Arena's job was to lift spirits and to change attitudes and as much as it was anything technical, which he's managed to do.
Plaschke's going to be spelled with a lowercase
Show me the
p by
World
the
Cup
end of this
qualifying.
show.
Show me that.
Buy or sell 2, Adrian Beltre is 4 hits away from 3,000. He was ejected last night in the 8th inning for on-deck circle shenanigans. You can see umpire Jerry Davis motion for him to get in the circle. Beltre brought the circle to him. Look at the guy in the second row in the red shirt. And then he was tossed for it. Look at the guy in the second row in the red shirt again. Jay, buy or sell the ejection for Beltre there?
You have to sell that. This guy's 20 years in the bigs. That doesn't give you the right to stand wherever you want. And if the umpire is insistent that he's standing in the on-deck circle, how about a rebuke? You don't have to go straight to ejection. Rebuke.
Gutierrez?
Of course I'm selling it. I mean, not only all those things that J.A. said, but the on-deck circle is essentially like a garage. It's just a bunch of stuff on there. It never goes used for the right reasons, and so why would you care about that? If the ump could politely say, hey, could you take a couple steps that way, future Hall of Famer, then maybe this doesn't happen.
Bob Ryan.
I'm selling. There are three certainties in life: death, taxes, and the relentless arrogance and pomposity of Major League umpires.
And speaking of, Mr. Bill Plaschke.
I'm selling this as well. The fourth certainty in life is that players will always try to sneak a peek behind the catcher. It's been going on for years. Why single him out for this? That's what he's saying. He was saying this is ridiculous. That's what L.J. Adrian was telling the umpire.
Can you imagine if he was at 2,999 hits when that happened? Can you imagine if you were a fan at that game hoping he gets that bat for you? Yeah. Wow. We'll move on. Buy or sell three. Zion Williamson versus LaMelo Ball last night. This is the Adidas Uprising Championships in Las Vegas. And the police nearly shut it down before opening tip. Fire code concerned. Crowd was 7 rows deep hours before. The police blocked doors in order to barricade, turned everyone back who wasn't in an hour before, which included LeBron James showing up and leaving without getting in. What are you buying? What are you selling here, Israel Gutierrez?
Well, no offense to the Ball family, but I'm buying that should be the scene for every Zion Williamson game because that dude is sick. I'm also selling the idea of LeVar Ball saying, I don't care what LeBron does. Listen, the best thing that could happen for your son is if LeBron is his teammate next year. You should definitely butter up that dude.
Bob Ryan.
Hey, where's the Thomas and Mack Center when you need it? I mean, this is modern spectacle. It has nothing to do with basketball, by the way, but it was a spectacle.
Well, it has a little to do with basketball, but I hear what you're saying. Go ahead, Bill Plaschke.
Zion Williamson is great, Izzy, but they were there mostly for the Ball family. They were there for the new Kardashian, the sports Kardashian show. This is what LeVar Ball. Remember last time he coached, he pulled his team off the court in an AAU game and went crazy right in the middle of the game. They're waiting to see what happens next with him.
Adonde.
Plaschke is right. I mean, Zion Williamson, his highlight mixtapes on YouTube have 1.6 million views. I thought that was great. Then I see there's a video talking about the Ball brothers dunk like Zion Williamson. It has 2.4 million views. So if more people would rather watch the Ball brothers do their imitations of Zion Williamson than Zion himself, yeah, this was a big baller brand production.
How about LeBron being turned away? I understand he was with 13 friends or so.
Wow.
That was some of the reporting I read. Orlando or CBS had that. But was it because there are too many people there, or was it because he's a Nike guy and this is an Adidas event? Is anybody wondering that aloud?
If he was an Adidas guy, they would have found a way to get him in there.
I thought that was the ultimate tribute. If a Nike guy is showing up at an Adidas event, that should be a win for Adidas. They should love that. All right.
I just wish I had 13 friends.
Oh, Bill, no, come on.
13 points.
You know what? We welcome you back. Next show you're on, Bill. For now, you're getting bolted. So is Adonde. Gutierrez, Ryan. Showdown next.
Okay, keep your eyes closed.
Okay.
I want to show you my first ever painting.
All right.
Okay. Open your eyes.
Oh, that's a lot of colors and shapes.
So be honest. What do you think?
Well, I like how if you switch to Geico, you could save hundreds of dollars on car insurance.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Here, why don't I hold your paintbrush while you call them?
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Israel Gutierrez, Bob Ryan, welcome to Showdown. Showdown 1 was and is our A1 lead story from yesterday, the reprogramming of Cam Newton SI. On the Panthers' plan to have Newton run less this season, okay? Cam today. That's my edge. You going to expect the lion not to roar? Israel? Controversy in day 2 of camp?
There could be. I think the Panthers might have done too much here by actually saying these things out loud because, of course, Cam thinks that's his edge. Of course, he thinks he's going to be able to run through defenses, and that's going to make their team better. You just can't tell him that's the case.
It is his edge. And by the way, I mean, they're talking about scripted runs. He's still going to be able to tuck it under when the play breaks down. He's going to have ample opportunity. He shouldn't overreact to this. He'll be running the ball as much as any quarterback in the league.
Iron like a lion in Zion. Split the points, and we'll move on. Showdown 2, Giancarlo Stanton's Jason Grilli impression. 2 nights ago, Grilli struck out Stanton to end the game and enjoyed it. Last night, Stanton took Grilli deep, and it's possible he enjoyed it more. It looks like to be the same exact reaction. Fair or foul, Bob?
Well, my reaction is that when Jason Grilli started in the major leagues in 1932, you didn't do this, but his son or somebody must have told him, this is the way you act now. I think it's very heartwarming that a 107-year-old pitcher can act like this, so I got no problem with him.
No, it's totally fair. It's totally fair. I mean, Giancarlo Stanton's usually a robot out there, no emotion. I need a little bit more Yasiel Puig out of that guy. He's got 33 home runs. He's launching them out of the buildings. And, yes, you can go ahead and celebrate and mock the dude who celebrated against you. More of that, Giancarlo.
One game was, 10-4? The other game was like 18 at the rim. I mean, neither of the games were close. This is the only thing to watch for. We'll split the point. Jason Grilly's 40, to be fair. He's a man. We'll move on. Showdown 3, Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. An inside the park grand slam with a play at the plate with a weird slide and an awful tag. Israel, credit for the slide or blame for the tag?
Oh, 100% credit for that slide. First of all, that dude was going because that ball wasn't in the air for that long and that play didn't last that long and he was already rounding third. He had the nutmeg. How often do you hear nutmeg in baseball? Like he nutmegged the catcher. That was great.
I know the old-timers are going, oh, he should have blocked the plate. Of course, you can't block the plate anymore. That was a great slide. I looked at this now, 4, 5, 6, 8 times? I think it's a hell of a slide. Better than,
Man,
than
you guys are agreeing on everything in Showdown. You know, I think I liked it better the first time I heard it when Israel said it, I guess. That's going to do it right here. Miami gets the FaceTime.
Now, for those of you who don't pay attention to this kind of stuff, the Mexican national soccer team has been fined for a third time now for their fans using an offensive gay slur. Now, it's a phrase that at the very least is offensive and in practice is used as a gay slur. But the Mexican National Federation is saying it's neither offensive nor a slur. So I read something in Outsports by Sid Ziegler that suggested that the FIFA should ban fans from Mexico's next few matches just to try to prove the point. UEFA has done that in the past, banning other fans' teams from their matches because they were offensive to their opposing teams and players. So I'm joining that cry, calling for the FIFA to take a step up there and ask Mexico to play in front of no fans because, hey, gays deserve respect just like anybody else.
Thanks for the time, Israel.
And Outsports.
And we'll be back tomorrow.